hadamadin ila nyantolum preji kendomi annun ji senango adabe hadamadun la baluwole kono annun hadamadun ka fengo fen dundi akono kono ayanda ke ku senangol ay ke kuti mi yalla ko ata hadamadun mantora madingul one stop water solutions limited ibi janne gambia banko kan andun ye filtarole natal me yalla ko isala jiol kende andi anu isa senen inatale pour ka ji kendo ji senango natale gambia banko kan jio mi yalla ko atal mantora la annun jio diata ba one stop water solutions limited ye filtarole natal me yalla ko alse muna fanganola alla pompol isala jiol tenteng ya senendi coming alla fala nyame naketa pompoti bang abo holo fo nawek la pipe wala a filter sifa o sifa one stop solutions ya natalele 10-inch filter set of 3 ya sotalele filter mi yalon ko asidiyota aya tenteng natara bankole ba kono fa kenyo wala kankan be bije isa be bon filter fana member ko 12-inch set of 3 filter mi yalon ko asidiyota aya dada aya senendi mense beta alla jata kendato fana sotale CTO block carbon filter o fana mu filter mi yalon ko asi chemical o bonnino jiol kono le mense beta alla jata kendaya filter member ko CTO block carbon mensi jiola chemical o be bondi akono pour kala jata kendaya sa hen nim filter sabol be kili clean na pansundoku na wata tankol fanan sotali kabirim 500 5000 fokata 10000 liters plumbing fittings fanan be mol bulle alsemol tarano sukuta highway mariama kunda johnson wala ismol kubandi 505 5691 796 8272 one stop water limited solutions inatale ka jiku be sonende gambia banko
just steal it. Okay, we just steal it. Did I say that? We just steal it. We're stealing something.
Stop stealing.
Yes, the Masacha Darasi, Mr. Mbuch. Good morning and welcome to QTV this morning. I'm your host, Jenna Bosonko, and I'm here with my co-host, Ibrahim Balde. Man nak tay dama réccu lutax utuma designer bu ma sol parce que Ibrahim Balde tay dafa sol chat bo xamné designer la dañu wone mom dafa am classe. Waye man ëppulo ma classe de.
Non xam nga yëfi classe loolu yëfi jigéen la
waaye yow tey góor bu am classe moo dee sol designer
waaye man dama dee sol designer sax duma ko dee notice
doo ko dee xam
waaw because man designer suma doole
loolu moo gën a yokk sa classe nag
thank you
waaw Mr. Mbuch welcome to the program ma bëgg a xam rek yéen seen time ndax yéen da ngeen daan sol designer xam nga ay daala designer ay mbuba designer ndax yéen seen time affaire yi waxi designer daal ndax mu ngi fa woon fu mu ne ñun si ñun
of course to a certain age wow just you tend to think like that xam nga solo what people will think xam nga they're vulnerable to pressures like that but as yaa ngee mag nga win sa bopp from that sort of thing
so léegi fi mu ne nii danga ma bëgg a woon ne moom si time designer
so you want to say man ci suma pick fu mu nekk nii maa ngi tànga
kind of I think you're still ascending eganglo ci peak bi nga start di descend oh what a point
waaw because xam nga comme gis naa ne comme ay solu ak yooyu noonu time la rek comme dafa am yéena yi nga xam ne sax yenn façon yu solo because gis naa fi koto yoo xam ne
balaa léegi ñu ngi takku de
non ba am na ñoo xam ne balaa ñoo dem ba settle down ba am ay family dañoo takku dañoo sol designer ñoo laal spray yu ne waaye léegi da ngaa gis ñu ngi rock seen xaftaan yi di dem
waaw as time goes on
so time la rek so let's enjoy the time that we have xamuloo ndax di nga ko enjoy
waaye Mr. Dia mu ne bul takka ñaareel de
man daal maa ngi
Mr. Dia moo toog télé wax ko man waxuma ko de
no why what is Mohamed doing about this
mu ne bul takka ñaareel daf la jox dénkal la ne la bul takka ñaareel
I'll think about it Mohamed naa ko xalaataat I'll think about it
anyway welcome to the program it's always good to be here so as usual we have the African proverb we have the newspaper review our guest is already here Mr. Mbuch to help us analyze some of the stories that we have here and on social issues today we'll be talking about oral hygiene, poor oral hygiene and issues it may lead to. You know, if you've been reading about it or just mingling with people who are dealing with dental issues, then you would realize that when people have dental issues, you know, it makes them prone to diabetes, it makes them prone to heart diseases, you know, and just other conditions. And the thing is, a lot of people do not even know that poor oral hygiene can eventually lead to some of these things. That is why today we'll be joined by a dentist just to take us through how we can improve on our oral hygiene, what to do, what not to do, how to brush our teeth, what to use to brush our teeth and all of that. So when we get to know these things, then we'll be careful and not have problems when it comes to dental issues because it is quite expensive.
I am very happy that we are talking about oral hygiene because this is very important. When it comes to being very clean, I mean, you're like it's very important for a person. So it's important for this guy to come and tell us more about these things and how to take care of.
Paying attention to detail, you know, it the person is not trying to show you the finger, but the person is trying to guide you to something else that you can benefit from, not the finger that the finger is just there to help and point at the particular object that we're talking about, but not to use the finger as a basis of trying to understand whatever the person is trying to point at.
That's it. So it's a sign, as it were. It's a sign. I think this proverb has to do with being nearsighted, not being able to go beyond the obvious.
Exactly.
And some people even interpret it as, because it's a very interesting proverb in that some people say that it's from Tanzania, and I've seen another say that it's from China.
Yeah, I saw the Chinese bit.
Yes, that sort of thing. So even others will interpret it in the sense that to mean that language is not the truth itself. You know, signs, they're not the truth itself, but it points you to it. It's a direction, it's a way to the truth.
Like it's a guidance or something.
That's it. It's a
sign.
That's it. Yeah. I remember, you know, we used to say stuff like, "Hey, look, the map is not the place." You know what I mean? It's a guide to the place, because the place is always changing. Mind you, you know, you can build new buildings, sort of demolish others, but you wouldn't see that in the map for a long time. So the sign to a place is different from the place itself.
And also, the finger that is pointing it, that's where the lesson is. That's where the lesson is. That serves as the guidance to whatever you're trying to look at or whatever that you're trying to achieve, you know. So most of the time, people, you know, this is just a daily thing. Sometimes our parents will say, "Mala njeka judu, mala gena ham aduna. Lima gis gisuloko." Sometimes parents say some of these things. We do not pay attention to those things. And that's where the lesson is. They feel like they've seen so much, they've done so much more than you have done, and they can guide you. And sometimes we don't take it.
Manam kula ma opala sagar.
Then they were lulu. Come si ñun suñ wahin ni. Why don't I guess sometimes as kids we do not tend to take those things. But I'm not even saying sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. It doesn't mean we have to accept it all the time. But try to look beyond the guidance that the person is trying to give you.
The way I'm seeing this thing, I'm seeing what we call ignorance. The child is not focusing on the moon, because this is what the elder is trying to show the child, but the child is not focusing there because of ignorance. Maybe the child is focusing on the finger, thinking that the finger is everything. You know, but I mean, there is more to the finger. I mean, we have the moon. You understand? So it's a matter of the child being ignorant. For me, that's how I see this. I'm not surprised it is a Chinese proverb, sort of. Chinese, it's very confusing.
I'm not sure whether I will call it ignorant.
I don't. Thank God I'm not the first person to jump on it.
It's a child, doesn't know yet.
Anything.
Hasn't learned yet. Yes. So he's confusing things. He's thinking that the lesson is in the finger, but the finger is trying to do something else. So it will take time to train that child to see the moon.
Right.
As it were.
That is why when it comes to raising a child, you have to take your time. You know, there are steps that you need to follow, because the child is so vulnerable, the child is so young. So obviously, su joxoñe place mom lolu rek la mo gis du gis path, positive path bu ko nekk di buga put through.
You know what I used to say, what we used to say at QIT, you know, that's what we do, we are into education. You know that teaching, the processes of teaching and learning are two different things. You might be teaching what you think is one thing, but if you don't be careful, I'm probably learning something else. This is really what we're saying here. Here the sage is trying to teach, look at the moon, but all the child could see was simply, what he was learning was just the finger. So once you're alert to the different processes, then you be careful how the child will learn.
So what are you going to do to make sure the child focus on the moon?
Oh boy, that you have to be a teacher, as it were, but there is no doubt that there are known techniques, known methods to teachers, the experts in it, who will be able to make that transition. It's always a transition from one to another. There are known methods of doing that.
You know, sometimes I feel like yelling at kids or beating kids, it's not really the solution for me. Sometimes when I talk about it, people are like, hey, you're westernized. you believe. But I'm like, that's not the case. I just feel like yelling at kids and, you know, beating kids is not what is going to make you be able to control their lives.
And you said something very interesting. Yes, you're done a westernized.
That's Western.
That's how everybody, a lot of people, not everybody, a lot of people put it that way. And to me, I'm like, wow, why do you want to give the devil the best tunes? This is what? Child psychology.
Yeah.
Anybody can do child psychology. Western society doesn't own child psychology. It's a science. I can sit here in the University of the Gambia, do child psychology. We know from child psychology that when you hit too much, you are going to sort of disable certain things in the person.
Right.
The confidence goes, a lot of things
Self-esteem.
go. We all know that. And even if you abuse children to a certain extent, their capacity to learn is affected. That much. We also know all of these things. So we are just taking what we know in the sciences and applying them in our lives.
Right. So, Balde,
what's the point of education? That's really what the point of education is.
You're a dad. I'm not Mr. Mboj. Why you, as a dad, what techniques do you put in to raise your child? Do you yell or do you beat?
I have a boy of 10 years.
Yeah.
He's a very smart kid. I mean, this guy, I don't beat.
Okay.
I just call him and advise him. And he's a person who listens. And the little brothers too follow. And the girl. So normally for me, I can shout at you.
Okay, but you
I can yell. Don't do this. Why are you doing this? Lutang I defli, buko def. Demal school. Jogal gawal time bi jotna.
For me, I feel like
don't get it wrong.
Yeah.
Not beating doesn't mean you're not going to bring them upright. Punishment. So you have to think about now what punishment means. There are many ways, various ways of punishing them. They must understand that when you do wrong, you will be punished. But when you do right, you will be rewarded.
Yes.
I have to think of both sides.
And when they get rewarded, then they're excited to move along those lines.
So I will use these rewards as your punishment. When you do certain things, I say, oh, that's it, I withdraw.
Exactly.
That's one way.
Yeah.
Or sometimes time out. Go to sit in your bedroom.
Grounded.
Well, you know what I've seen at some point, if a child is used to beating or a child is used to a certain punishment, at some point the child will be used to that. I mean, if you don't do that, you won't have any solution. So it's good to know how to bring your children in such a way they will be used to your formula.
Yes, and then, like you mentioned, they'll be rewarded or they'll be punished. You can ground them or just do different things. But Mr. Mboj, looking at myself, I feel like I'm going to yell a lot. Man, and I need to start working on it before I start making babies. I just look at myself and I know Mr. Mboj. So I need to work on it from now on.
So I'm a family. Fonga yuhu.
Wow, man naturally
not necessarily. Maybe once in a while.
Wow.
When you do it all the time, then it doesn't have quite the impact. When you do it once in a while, it does. Then it means it's serious. You know what I mean? So you just have to have control over yourself because you want to teach that in your child.
Right.
So you cannot teach what you are not.
That's the thing.
We see it here all the time. You know, people will want their kids to be one thing, but they are not it. That's really going to be difficult. Where's the child going to learn that from?
Right.
I mean, in the old days, perhaps when you live in the compound, what they call compounds, and the line houses, maybe there would be a teacher living there who would have such an influence on the child.
Right.
So we've seen these things. It's about the neighbors, the teacher here, or the person who cares, but you wouldn't necessarily get it from your parents. So just be careful with these things and learn. We have our conventional ways, but our conventional ways...
I do not agree when you say that.
Right.
I think, you might see it that way. Sometimes a parent is not this and he wants the child to become this thing. Sometimes the parents, they've gone through certain things. They don't want their children to go through that. So that's why they want to change them for the better.
Wow.
We're talking about here methods. If I have ambition, for instance, I didn't go to school, I have ambition for my children to go to school. Oh, absolutely, that's a different kind of thing, isn't it? But what I'm saying is, when I'm at home, I don't read at all, and I want to force my kids to read. That's going to be extremely difficult. Imagine there are even no books. Then maybe I have to go to the library. You know, you have to put in that habit of me going to the library or being interested in books. When I'm not interested in books, that's difficult. That was why I said to you, maybe you're living in a compound where there's a teacher or there's somebody who likes that, then you see that the person does it. You'll be surprised in many households how it was this other person, or maybe there's an uncle. There's always somebody on the side who will come and help.
Totally agree
you
with
will be surprised how many people were helped by that sort of arrangement. That is why they say that it takes a village
to raise a child.
To raise a child.
Yes.
Anybody can come and chip in.
Yep.
Okay,
Mr.
I think
we move on, but Mr. Bush, to be honest, I totally agree with that. Sometimes people say when you start having kids, there are certain attitudes you want to change, and that is this. Even if you're not doing certain things and you want your kids to do it, you do it first. Even if you don't mean it, but do it, just so they'll be able to see and continue it.
And you begin now. If you're going to wait, if you want to wait until you have kids, it's not going to happen. When I think it now, I change it now. When I think it now, I change it now.
That is why I'm working on the fact that I can yell on my kids. Anyway, we will now go for a short commercial break. It seems we've already dealt with our social issues topic. Thank God. We will change the dental issue to community watch instead, because we've already dealt with social issues. So we'll go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll head right on to the newspaper review.
Begin your SUV life. S-Pass Motors, the new authorized dealer for Kia. Visit us today or call us on 3522-222, 353-2222.
Want it? Order for it and pay quickly using Quick Pay on the Q Money platform. With great technology comes ease and convenience. Get a glimpse of what a comfortable life is with Q Money by dialing *323# now. Call 133 for more information. Q Money, Sunyu Kalpe.
Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. And now we're heading right on to our newspaper review. Our guest is already here, Mamadou Mbodj. Thank you so much for joining us. Ibrahima, I think we have the point.
Oh, yes, the point newspaper. And let's take a look at the headlines. David Kole Usman Sonko among most damning SGVB perpetrators on the Jammeh era. Coastal Security CEO calls for serious road reform. Finance Minister blames price hike on global market. And of course, Gambian writer Dr. Moro Kurubale launches Senegambia. Senegambia, I am confused.
Senegambia?
Yes.
Okay, we will get into that, hopefully.
Launches Senegambia?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the book
a book is called Senegambia.
It's titled Senegambia.
Something like that.
Yeah,
but anyway, I just saw something so interesting on social media yesterday that has to do with one of the topics here, one of the headlines, and it says WB approves $40 million Gambia inclusive and resilience of agricultural value chain development project. So this particular headline popped up, and I saw a few comments from people, just saying that they feel that this is not going to go to the grassroots. It's going to be used for workshops, for cars, and for per diems. I saw that, and he just read it now, and that this particular thing just came to my mind. I think it's quite sad that whenever we get some of these grants or some of these loans, the citizens themselves are afraid for themselves that they are going to lose this money to per diems, to cars, just to things that might be deemed as wasteful.
Oh, absolutely, and understandably so. Because for so long we've seen how public officials, how they've been just so they vandalize the public coffers. But that doesn't mean that I become cynical.
Okay.
Anything that comes along, I said, oh, it's going to go the same way as the old, nothing new will come and all the rest of it. But now we know that where, for instance, World Bank, institutions like the World Bank are involved, they tend to take a closer monitoring sort of approach than before. And here I understand that about 50,000 farmers will benefit from this. 10 small and medium-sized enterprises, and then what, 50% of the beneficiaries will be women and 30% youth.
But this is not the first time we're hearing something like this. All the things that you're saying are so familiar to me.
So now, but what does that mean, though? Is it that by now everything should have been okay?
Obviously, everything is not okay.
That's the point. But when you look at certain indices, you will see improvement here, improvement there, improvement there in bits. But of course, you look at other areas, perhaps you wouldn't see such improvements.
Right.
It is always a mixed picture. That is why cynicism is not healthy. It's not balanced. Life isn't like that.
Yep,
you know
that's
what I
true.
mean? So this is it. It seems like a brilliant idea. And I've got here the representative of World Bank in this country, Borofis, saying that this will boost commercial agriculture by investing in enabling agribusiness environment and mobilizing private investment through what they call a dedicated matching grant mechanism and that sort of thing. So there's something that they're thinking about. So they want to boost the value chain
actually,
of agriculture.
this particular post that I just talked about that I saw is by a farmer. This individual is actually a farmer, the one that said he has the strong feeling that this will not reach them. They won't benefit from these things. But anyway.
Oh, absolutely. But you also realize that that is just one farmer.
It is one.
You might have met somebody else who said, actually, this could work.
Right. True. True.
So let's just sort of look at what the proposal is, what they're going to do, and then we hold them to account. This is really what our job is, then to see, you know, what are the benchmarks, what should we expect to see after a year? What should we expect to see after 2 years? You know, we have our benchmarks, then we, as they would put it, hold your feet to the fire.
Yeah, and see what will come out of it. And you know, let's talk about ECOMIC a little bit. As Finance Minister says, ECOMIC fully funded by ECOWAS. I think they're just trying to make this clear because Gambians are so disgruntled with the presence of ECOWAS still in the country. So here we have the Finance Minister talking about the fact that it's fully funded by ECOWAS, as in it's not coming from Gambian coffers.
But that was what they've always said. We sort of knew that. That was what they said. They've said this for a very long time. Everything is funded by ECOWAS. Yes, of course, there are surveys sort of showing that a good number of Gambians think that it's about time that ECOWAS, you know, they're left, that sort of thing. For this one, I think to a large extent, we have to leave it to the executive, who would occasionally be questioned by Parliament to look at the security situation. I'm sure you have a lot of information that we are not privy to. That's the nature of these things. So for me, I wouldn't join any bandwagon. I'm just open to whatever is going on. It appears that they're still not sure about our security. Remember that it's ECOWAS paying for it. This is what they've said. These people wouldn't want to waste their money.
If they feel there's no security threat.
There must be need for them, you know, for the soldiers to be here, for these people to pay. They are monitoring. Nobody will spend their money just like that. We all know that. But again, we must also be careful that, well, for how long? When I'm spending my money, sooner or later I'll say, oh, brah, that's it. So because with them as well, it depends on what is happening in their countries. Remember, you go through an economic downturn or there's something going on, then your commitments, you might be forced to withdraw some of your commitments. So we must also think like that. But just to automatically say, oh, they've been here for too long, let them leave, I'm not so sure about that, especially recently. What, 4 or 5 coups?
I don't think ECOMIC is leaving here anytime But like you mentioned, let's just observe the situation and see. But, you know, Ibrahima, I've been seeing something very, very interesting. I don't know if you've been paying attention to it, which is the fact that I am seeing individuals with, you know, huge respect, very good caliber and all of that, declaring their interest to run for the parliament. I'm seeing big changes when it comes to the individuals who really want to run for the parliament. Prior, we did not have individuals as such have confidence to come out, but the trend is changing, and it's just left to the electorate to either elect them or not, but they are really out there as we speak.
Well, we've already seen it in the presidential.
Yeah.
We had really 3 or so bright young people.
Yeah.
There was the SFL, there was Dr. Ismail Assise,
Right.
he didn't really contest, but he's around there.
Yeah.
There was Apply Jami, brilliant guy. We've seen top quality caliber young guys in there.
Yeah.
This is what we were talking about. We hope that it will be replicated in the National Assembly elections.
Right.
We want high caliber people in there. And experience. I mean, remember that these people are going to be scrutinizing and writing legislation.
Right.
You need to be mature, you need to be worldly, you need to have a breadth of mind, you need to be all sorts, really, to be handling the details, you know, that analytical mind, as it were, to be handling certain details in the National Assembly.
Right.
So there is no doubt about that.
But the thing is, Mr. Mboj, some of these people are normally not voted for.
Well,
they voters in
Well,
constituency.
people
No,
that
see-
are capable. I mean,
No, but this is the nature, this is democracy. Democracy never promised you that you will get the right candidate. Democracy only said that there must be popular participation. The outcomes, democracy cannot guarantee you outcomes at all.
Yeah.
It's a process of participation, full stop. The rest, that's us. But again, it depends on your average voter. That is why they're telling with democracy you have to educate the electorate.
Yeah.
Democracy works with an educated electorate.
Well,
Otherwise, it descends into what they call demagoguery.
well, we have.
did you
we
say
have
what's that?
Demagoguery.
The demagogue, the person who will come and whip up the passions, there's no reasoning, there's nothing like that. You know,
Yeah.
whip up the blood, you know, you're Manika, I'm Manika, let's take over
Stuff
and do
like that.
whatever, and
Stuff
stuff
like that.
like that. That's the demagogue. In the end, if you're not careful, democracy can become that. You know, the sort of crude example I've given you, you have all the demagogues. You have a few in this country, I would mention names. They just talk to whip up passions and emotions and all the rest of it and bypass the issues.
Yeah.
And sometimes people, especially when we are going through difficulty, it's easy for these people to come and promise anything.
Anything.
And we say, we follow you.
Yeah.
Just as you've seen when the army, recently in all these countries, when they took over their countries, people ran out and supported them. Can you imagine
Quite sad.
running to the army as their savior?
Well, don't you think those people are tired of the civilian rule? I mean,
That's it.
civilians have put them in so much trouble.
That is precisely the point. But the army has never been the answer either. So the people, ordinary people, were in between the rock and the cold hard place, as it were. Civilians, the army.
So what can be done? What can be done to change this demagogue or demagoguery? I don't know. Is it demagoguery? Yeah? Can you pronounce that? Demagoguery. Mr. Mboj, how can we change?
So for
because
me,
in the Gambia here, demagoguery more.
We've already said it. Education, it will change. It's just a certain
But it's not.
phase.
It's not a gradual process.
But the thing is,
it is,
that is why when the national, the Council for Civic Education came here the last time, I know they weren't happy with me because I was, you know, trying to put them through some of these things and explain to them what is happening on ground. I'm not saying they're not doing anything, but I've not even, since the election be passing, they go and how what they're up to. And this needs to start now. April is just around the corner. And there are a lot of misconceptions when it comes to the role of parliamentarians. The misconceptions are just too much.
Well, yes, I suppose so, because as we said, we're sort of having to relearn democracy for a long time. The parliament was just a rubber stamp stuff. That was why in 2017, all sorts of people, you know, won a seat into the parliament. Some people might say that perhaps they shouldn't have been in there, you know, never had the experience, the education, you know, to be in there. But it doesn't matter. This is how democracy works. This time round, perhaps we'll be more discerning. That's why one, you know, will be more discriminating in who we select, and even the candidates. You will have a higher quality, higher caliber candidates, you know, contesting. So it's a gradual process. I'm not really in a hurry, because if I'm in a hurry, I'm just gonna give myself a heartache and just die, and things will continue. This is what being in a hurry means.
All right. So Ibrahim, what else? What other interesting headlines do we have?
Okay, let's take a look at coastal security. CEO calls for serious road reform. I think Siri have been advocating for road reform for a very long time. If you follow some of his programs on Kachadula, these are the things that he talks about. I mean, teenage drivers without license, you know. I mean, you just rent a car and you start driving. So these are things that he advocates for all the time. And I believe he's watching and he will agree with us, Mr. Mboch. A lot of accidents. The condition of our roads are terrible.
Yes, but you know that is true, and everybody tells you that the condition of the road contributes to accidents. How much it contributes, that's something else. But you also know that the roads do not drive cars. Human beings drive cars on them.
Yeah.
So you can have bad roads, but if people are careful, you can avoid a lot of things as well. So let us be honest about that, because these road accidents is a multi-dimensional phenomenon. You have so many different things coming together. That's why we're having it. It's not simply monocausal. One thing caused it. You have a multiplicity of causes there. I think this deeper argument really is this: to have what they call DVLA. I think there's something, that sort of thing is in England. That's drivers or driving and vehicle licensing agency. Because really what he's talking about is that you have the police, they're the ones who are giving the license, and also they're the enforcers of the road regulations. So create a DVLA, this body that would be giving out licenses and making sure that they test vehicles for what they call MOT, for their roadworthiness. Really, that MOT test they used to call it, for their roadworthiness. And I think that it is a good idea. We have to do something about roads. It's certainly an epidemic. It's an emergency now, but you don't get the sense that people in authority really have any idea what to do, or are they really committed to it. We've known some time back that they had certain speedometer, they had certain machines, equipment. You know, this is all going towards combating what is going on our roads. But just as I said earlier, it takes a lot more than that. You never, rarely in a situation would you have one solution, one thing will give you the solution or two. Sometimes you have to do so many different things that will give you the solution. Just getting the equipment is one thing, but what about the reforms? But we haven't seen anything.
Yeah.
Well, for our roads, I think, I mean, it's high time we see how best to solve certain things, because, I mean, for many years, over 20 years, I mean, the same thing, the same accidents, the same people dying, you know, the same kind of accident. So it's just terrible. I mean, we've seen the issue, the accident that happened in Jarasoma recently, and we've seen the likes of Sisi Sawane. They all lost their lives, you know. The same way, it's just terrible. Legi sadam na be man hasuma duge moto di tukki dama de ragal.
Man bori sa jaralu mako.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
Well, for me, I take these commercial taxes going to work, you know, to commute home and work, and I mean, each time now I get into a taxi, I said, man, this could be my last trip.
Man damala de won.
This is really what the situation is out there. And we see it, you know, especially some of us who join the hustle and bustle, you see the attitudes. Oh, I do not know, man. You have this sort of kind of subdued kind of resentment. The slightest provocation, oh boy, there's no patience. It's unbelievable.
But Mr. Mbo,
I don't understand it.
Man dama ko de jelal suma bopane, suma life la. So dama de hulu ak ñom won len. One driver bi si bopam ne ko bro man xawma li da nga daw ndanka mala jël town trip suma xaliss la fay, you have to take it easy. You can
certainly, I do that as well. When you know certain speed, when you hit certain speed, I will tell you. I mean, at one time, and even the expletives, using the swear words. I remember one time, this was unbelievable. I remember one time, the taxi driver, he was using a lot of expletives and all of that. Then I said to him, man, in the old days, so magneke mutu halal do saga and all of that. Then I said to him, Then when I couldn't take it anymore, he just ignored me. Manako hana yo rap nga. Then I thought I had really hit below the belt. He looked at me and said, yes, rap la. Manako stop. Then I knew that we were in trouble. The content is very funny now. I do not know.
Nga neka private car, mu neka commercial. Suma gisotelu ma xam may mama wacha. It's very simple. Man suma neke dama ko bañ be, man suma xariti suñ ma dé drive, may wax sé dama dé koro sen road. Defal ndanka de defal li, bëggoñ li mané leen dédét, fokk ñu remindante né tali Gambia bi ora tut. Fokk ñu defante ndanka.
Sa life bi mo gëna important no matter what happens.
So ko sétlo am sa moto bopa di dawal. Mo gën dé bu boba yow xam nga di ngay dawé ak di ngay défé. Am Istanbul.
Sometimes
that is true, but again nekuna yow kenn la ñeneen nga dawal.
Even bo amé sa moto bopa.
You can do the right
thing.
thing.
Rek ek sa kaw.
Wax dëgg.
Wow, so all these things. Déma ma ngi taxaw la men NTC ma ngi park. Kenn ñew mu ne suma moto bi bam ci gannaaw. So it's terrible. I think how ma luñ wara def dal.
Waaye man Mr. Mbodj scénario ba ma nekk di daaju mu ne ko man rap la.
Yes, mune ko ana rap nga. Mune la just mune ma waaw rap la. Mune mais
fofu lañ.
So
fofu la yara de ko em.
Nga duga moto bi rap di dawal.
Nga ne ko mama wacha. Mr. Mbodj, thank you so much for joining us. You know, it's always good to have you here. It just goes beyond the seriousness of trying to analyze the newspapers or the African proverb, but the fun that we also just bring into it. And I'm sure that that is what the viewers love about the program as well. So we'll go for a short commercial break, and when we come back, we'll head right on to the second social issues of today, because we've already dealt with one. The second part, which has to do with poor oral hygiene and issues it may lead to. And we were joined by experienced dentists from the Serap Medical Center to help us discuss this very important topic. We'll be right back.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
Nga noro tarale, birin dunia be datila. Adabe na baluwo konole, nsulata noro, pour kan na do kuolke, kan na bungol lo, kan na fengol fi, hanim fanan kan na kanunyol je. Noro ka kuol sone yande. Woto QCell, ya Q power sanya kutole nati. Isela kas power sotono katabake. Anin yin QCell la yin code kuto. Ila dunia malandi. Anin yin star 363 has. Katabake. Hanna tara ibela suokono ila ofisoko. Anin dulalo. Star 363 has kumandi sign. Q power. Kie la dunia mala malandi. QCell. Sunyu boss. Ntolle nga silo walang dole mol noma.
Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. So Ibrahim, and now we're heading right on to social issues and talking about poor oral hygiene and issues that it leads to. And we're joined by Dr. Adeyemi, dentist at the Serap Medical Center. Thank you so much for joining us on the program and talking about a very interesting topic. And to say this is not a conversation that is had often. Poor oral health, poor oral hygiene is not a topic that people are often like free to talk about. So I think it's important that in Gambia here, so I think it's important that we kind of break the norm and like have a conversation on it. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
All right.
So we all have teeth, so we have dental problems. We'll talk about it. So that's why I'm here.
All right. I naturally have dental issues, as you can see, and I and I always talk about it, and it's one of my biggest insecurities. But we'll talk about that later.
But so have you ever seen a dentist?
Huh?
Have you ever seen a dentist?
I've seen a dentist before.
Okay.
Yeah, but we'll talk about that later. I'm free to talk about my own experience. I do not mind.
No, it's not about your experience.
Yeah.
It's about, you know, you have a problem.
Yeah.
If you have a car that has a problem, you definitely call someone to
yeah,
fix it.
right.
Or you have a dental problem, you're like, it's not yet painful.
Oh,
what
no.
What kind of a problem is this?
Dubako
I
de
can
Jahan.
see space on your teeth.
But we'll come to that later. Anyway, this is natural. Doctor, this is actually natural. It's
I know that because I've been watching your program.
Yeah, it's not like I fell down. People think that it's because I fell down or had an accident. That is why I have this. But actually, I was born this way, and it's just this way, you know. But people sometimes want to convince me to put teeth in between, and I feel like it's going to change my look.
But I think if it's natural,
this
is you. This is Jenna Bosonko. So if you put anything there, it will change the way you look. Doctor,
why do you think that?
I think people know Jenaba of this. No. You know, I think I saw one of your graphic posters.
Yes.
I think they changed something.
They added a teeth, and I was so mad that they added a tooth.
Yeah, so it wasn't like Jenaba.
Yeah.
It's different.
So, doctor, what are you saying? What do you think about that?
Well, like I always tell patients, you have to see an expert.
Okay.
Personally, I think if you come for a treatment, it could be done. You think you're okay like this, but if you have a different treatment done, to just adjust it a little, just something, you see it's going to kind of beautify your smile the more.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, when you talk now, a lot of people focus directly on that space.
My teeth, and it's so true.
So it's good that you have a very huge self-esteem. But for some, it could affect them.
It will.
So it's just the way it is.
Yeah, and in as much as I have a huge self-esteem and confidence, but just to tell you, my teeth as well is one of my biggest insecurities. Sometimes there are pictures, people trying to take pictures, and I hate to smile because I feel like whenever I do that, the next person's attention is on my teeth more than any other thing that I have to show or I have to offer. But anyway, I've built so much confidence around it, and I'm able to just continue with it. But yeah, before we go into that, let's talk about the most important parts of just, you know, the whole issue of oral hygiene. So if an individual wants to maintain proper oral hygiene, what are the 4 steps that the individual needs to take?
Well, the most important step is brushing. You have to brush in the morning, brush at night. But the argument is, do you brush before eating or you brush after? Some brush before eating, some brush after. It depends on your mindset. But some will always suggest that you brush after eating in the morning, then you head out. Then what we all agree on is when it's night, you're about to sleep, brush as the last thing when you're going to sleep. Because the way this thing works, it's a process, and which I always explain. Dentistry, dental problems is scientific. No matter what problem you have, once it's scientific and it has a solution, then you just follow principles and you'll be fine. So for instance, if you have teeth, that is the only time you can have dental problem. If you have no teeth in your mouth, you won't have any dental problem. Right. So now, when you have teeth and you are eating, the food will likely stick to your mouth. So 4 factors have to be in play for you to have dental problems. You have to take food, especially food that have sugar in them. And at the same time, you must have teeth. When you take these things, every human being has bacteria in their mouth. That's the 3rd factor. And you mix all these things together with ample time. Before you know it, you start creating acidic content from the bacteria that dissolves the teeth. So you have people who have this kind of black spots on their teeth, and you think it's a peculiar feature for fullers. It's not. It is mainly because they have dental caries. So when you're that's a fuller. Not necessarily. As long as you keep taking things and you don't take care of your mouth, you are going to have dental problems. That's it.
All right, so what you said the most important thing that you need to do is to brush.
Yes.
So what should this toothpaste that you're using contain? Because we have a lot of toothpaste brands in the, you know, in the whole world. Everybody's coming up with their own toothpaste brands, and as well as toothbrush as well. There are a lot of toothbrushes. Some are hard, some are soft. Is it like it's classified as to which one should use depending on your teeth or what?
No. What I do advise is, for the toothpaste, get any one that contains fluoride. Once you have fluoride in it, you are fine. You are good to go. But there are so many toothpaste out there, like you rightly said. But they have their different functions. But the most important one, if you are into the preventive aspect of the dental problems is the fluoride-containing toothpaste. Once that is sorted, you are good to go.
Okay, so if the toothpaste has
fluoride, yes,
and just any other thing, then it will work. But the fluoride content is the most important.
So for the toothbrush, the medium texture is fine. But a lot of people who smoke, they feel that they should use the hard one. It will destroy your teeth.
Okay, doctor, what are the common dental problems we have?
Well, dental caries is the common one. And in Gambia, from the statistics done so far, I think 7 out of 10 people have dental problems in Gambia. And it is due to the diet. If we don't take rice in the morning or bread, we'll take, it's just within rice and bread. There are other food, but we concentrate so much on bread in the morning, rice at night, or rice as lunch. Either way, those things would form and break down into sugar that destroys the teeth. So diet is one of the things you have to watch to make sure you have an healthy living. You have so many fruits, you can eat them and you'll be fine.
Okay. Yeah, so the diet, right? The diet.
That's interesting.
It is. So yeah. I also want to know, you know, visiting a dentist in the country is so expensive. We know the salary of the average Gambian, what people get, and when you go to a dentist, some of the things that people charge you. So I just wanted to know, within what range are you suggesting that an individual has to see a dentist, either to clean or just to check or just to do anything just to make sure that they have a healthy teeth?
Well, I don't know why people keep saying it's expensive. For instance, there are so many dentists in the country, and everyone does not charge the same prices. You will definitely find one that is within your price range. Yeah. There are some that may be higher for the average Gambian, but it doesn't change the fact that there are other ones that charge way less that people can easily afford. Yeah. So this expensive thing is about the mindset. And the truth is, nobody actually believes that we depend on that salary we get in Gambia. One way or the other, we survive. Your salary may be 2,000, but at least I'm very certain that person is a breadwinner for someone. So they get the money somehow. Maybe work 2 jobs or something. So if you see something as important, you are definitely going to solve the problem. Because if you don't see it as important, then you think it's something you should ignore. A lot of people ignore dental problems because they feel it's something they can ignore until it becomes painful and they need the dental assistant urgently. But the measures you could take that could prevent you from spending so much is to watch your diet, really.
Doctor, let's talk about tooth sealing.
Okay.
Sometimes people tend to have different concept when it comes to sealing a particular tooth. Okay. According to them, they said it doesn't stay long. At the same time, it can cause pains in the future. Is that the case?
No, that's not true. No, that's not true. You have a tooth that has a cavity, it has a hole, then it's sealed, then it's done. Yeah. But the problem now is this. A lot of patients don't follow instructions, but they will give you a beautiful narrative that will make you feel that the problem is either with the dentist or the problem is either with something else apart from them. But if you go to a dentist, there are instructions that will be given to you for every procedure that you do. The patients follow them, and I can tell you, in my 6 years of practice in Gambia, I'm still here to find a patient that I tell, do this, do that. They will do exactly opposite and say, doctor, I'm not fine. So I make extra effort to enforce the instruction because I know when they say I'm not fine, it becomes my problem. Yeah. Because when they are not fine, they are not fine. But the instruction part is also part of the things they need to do to get better. Right. If you tell them, this is what you're supposed to do after filling, they will do exactly opposite. Tell them, this is what you're supposed to do after extraction, they do exactly opposite. So,
okay, and I think the feeling you're talking about is so normal because, like I said, I don't know it's because while I was growing up, my teeth had issues at the time, but I do not know when it comes to my teeth where the problem is originating from. But I have like 3 teeth currently that are like sealed, and it's been a long, long time, and you know, it's so normal. I feel so normal, and the color is like my teeth. It's not like whiter or looks different. You know, it's like kind of off-white. So it's the same thing, and it's just normal.
The treatment was done where?
Yeah, it was done so well, and
where? In which country?
In Gambia here. Okay. You know, and you can't even know and it doesn't pain at all, and it's not like giving me different color from the color of my teeth.
Well, for me, I used to have this tooth with a hole here. I wanted to seal it at some point, but they told me to uproot it. So I have to uproot the tooth, you know, and it was uprooted.
Yes, because the time you presented, it was too late.
Yeah.
You can only seal a tooth that's one way or another, you can still salvage.
Yeah.
But when it's very bad, and you go with the mindset to tell the dentist, do this, and they tell you no, because it won't work.
Yeah.
So you have to take it out. If it's a small hole, small cavity, no dentist will tell you to take out that tooth. No. I'm not talking of, what was it called now? A professional would know this is the right thing to do because they've been trained to know the right thing to do. So it's a small cavity, then you go ahead and just put the filling there, and it's sealed.
And another thing, Ibrahim, I think there's a misconception that we need to clear here. When it's a Gambian misconception. I don't know if it goes beyond Gambia, but here, people have the concept that, you know, if you remove a tooth that is on the upper layer, the tendency of you dying is so high. Digga la wala du digga?
You know, you are very right.
Exactly, this is happening in the Gambia. Sometimes, when you have a toothache at the upper part, and you tell somebody, hey, I'm going to go uproot my, they'll be like, no, you can die.
No, I'm just laughing because I remember an experience of mine. I had this kid I needed to see, and she started crying, I don't want to die. I do not understand. I'm like, because I was my first year. I'm like, what do you mean you don't want to die? How is that related to what I'm about to do for you? So my assistant called me that, doctor, calm down. So we went outside. He told me the story. But I realized that even from that time till now, the conception is still there.
It's there.
So I always have to work extra hard to desensitize them that your tooth is not connected to your brain. It's not going to cause any problem. The problem will not jump from this tooth to another tooth and things like that. Because over the years, things have formed up and it's now being seen as the truth. And the funny thing is, it's not just the people that are not literate. Both literate, illiterate, everybody have the same thing. Right. So talking about it does not change their mind. They are just like, this man wants money. Finish what you are saying, but I'm not removing it. And they tell you, I don't want the treatment. So when they come and the swelling is huge and everything, and at that point, the pain is so much, they go ahead to do it, and I'm like, so I'm fine. So
so the misconception has to change.
Who wants to change it?
Well, we can. You know, we can. With this conversation, at least, you do not know where it might reach, because it's super serious that people have some of these concepts that are not even close to being true.
Well, for me, when I was a little boy, there's a lady that I know. I mean, she had this toothache, and eventually she passed away. You know, and they said that's the cost of her death. You know, but I know, Hamnane, it's not. She didn't go to any dentist. She didn't go see a dentist or something. It's just a toothache. You know, in the morning they said she is.
Yes, people die from toothache. It's not a joke. I lost a patient once.
But it's not uprooting it.
The person just died.
The thing is, there's something we call Ludwig's angina. It's one of the diseases, dental diseases that do kill patients. And mainly what causes it is that when you have a tooth and eventually there's abscess and eventually it blocks the throat, it gets to a point that it chokes the patient to death because the pus will be so much and there will be no space for it to go, and it chokes the patient.
So in that case, what do you do if you realize that as a dentist?
Well, most of the time, once the patient presents and they present early, there are so many things we could do. We'll take out the tooth that caused the problem and we'll drain the pus as much as possible, place on a lot of antibiotics and monitor them. Because the first 48 hours is so serious that anything that could go wrong would go wrong during that hour. So when they present like that, and I've seen so many. So when things go wrong that way, it is so sensitive that you have to do whatever it is to make sure you don't lose that patient.
Okay.
Yeah.
So moving on, let's talk about teeth whitening. If you go to Serekunda or just, you know, around the market areas, you would see people, you know, selling tooth whitening. They call it
exactly.
tooth whitening.
They are very common.
They are very common.
Yes, exactly.
You know, and they
we
sell
see
it
them
very
all
cheap.
the time.
You know, they sell it very cheap. So what do you have to say in relation to that? And the person who's selling it to you is not even a dentist.
Yes, we have a lot of people that are not dentists that are practicing dentistry. And nobody is doing anything about it. Maybe because we don't have enough dentists in the country. The licensed dentist in this country is not sufficient to take care of the population of the country. So talking about teeth whitening, I don't do that procedure mainly because once the procedure is done, you should know the complications. And the next thing is, can you manage the complications? Teeth whitening is more like bleaching a tooth. So a lot of patients come and they tell you they want teeth whitening. They want their teeth white. But the natural color for a tooth is yellow. But some patients do have white teeth that is naturally white. And unfortunately, all these toothpaste brands have made it look like when your teeth is white, that is the normal color. But that is wrong. Your normal tooth color should be yellow. That
well,
is
people don't know that if your teeth are yellow, especially in this country, if your teeth are yellow, doctor, people will be like, wow, what is wrong with this person? You know, so...
No, because they don't know.
I'm supposed to help with them.
No. Because people think white is right does not make it right.
Okay.
Yellow is the right.
Okay, but doctor, when you say yellow, you know yellow, there are different levels. There are different levels to yellow. There are different... Are you saying off-white? If you say off-white, then... But what kind of yellow are you talking about?
Is it yellowish white?
No, the feminine part of her has jumped out now. She does not accept the yellow part.
No, I can't because I know what yellow... I was expecting you to say off-white, maybe.
Okay. Well, off-white, no.
Off-white, no.
There's this kind of... it's not yellowish like the UDP yellow.
Okay.
But it is yellow in a way like... how would you put it now? It's not so bright.
Okay.
But it's not white. I'm not saying that you have the kind of shining yellow so that you have that kind of mental picture that you are looking for that kind of yellow in a patient's mouth. No.
Okay.
But the yellow we're talking about is, you know it's yellow, but it's not bright yellow.
Yeah, which means it's kind of like off-white in a way. And you know, when people have the teeth whitening, to me, it's not natural. It's too white and not kind of natural to me. I do not like it. I don't know for you.
I've never used it before.
No, I mean people who've done it. Well, have you seen somebody who's done it
Yes,
before?
I've seen a whole lot of people
do you like
doing
it when you see it too white?
Well, I think it's not natural.
Yeah,
so
you can tell.
It's better for you to maintain your teeth, take good
your
care
teeth
of them.
color, the one that you have, and just maintain it. But we're not talking about the thick yellow, obviously. The yellow.
Okay, let's talk about this. Sometimes, if people get close to you, the scent that comes out of their mouth, some people say this is a sickness in the stomach. Is it true? Or is it that the person is not taking care of his or her mouth?
Well, when we talk about bad breath or odors or halitosis, they are not right, they are not wrong. But what I need people to understand is there's the sickness part of mouth odor, and there's the normal one, which we call the physiological one. If you are someone that you don't talk all day, your mouth will definitely smell.
If you keep quiet the whole day?
If you keep quiet the whole day, your mouth will smell.
Yeah, your mouth will never smell.
Because I'm a talkative.
And if you are someone that you fast a lot or you are fasting, your mouth will definitely smell. And the third one is if you go to bed at night and you wake up in the morning, your mouth will smell. So if it's those periods that you had a bad breath or mouth odor, it is normal. But in a situation where you don't take care of your mouth will also smell. So if it goes for a long time, then the problem will be there. But the other type of one, which we call the systemic, is when you have an infection in your chest or in your abdomen and the odor comes from your breath, then you have a different situation also. So there's the part that has to do with sickness, there's the part that has to do with just being human and just being normal. Because I don't think people will start going to a doctor if their armpit is smelling. They just know they need to go and shower. They don't need a doctor for that. So there are things you need a doctor for. There are things you don't need a doctor for. It's that simple.
Okay. So moving on, let's talk about the tongue thing. According to, prior to you coming on the program, we were having a conversation as a team, and we were just talking about, you know, using brush in different ways and just using things. So we want to know if it is normal to use a toothbrush to brush your tongue.
Yes, it is.
It's normal to use a toothbrush?
Yes.
But one of our colleagues said, because we were just discussing, said it is alleged that when you use a toothbrush to brush your tongue, it affects your sweet buds or the sour buds or the salt buds. Is that true?
No. Do you know we have this thing called tongue scraper?
Yes.
Okay. So now, if you use that, would you scrape off your buds?
But
no, it won't.
They are saying that maybe the toothbrush is too hard.
No. The tongue is a bundle of muscle with a lot of nerve endings. You have to actually cut them off for them to go off. So are you telling me that when you take something very hot and it burns your tongue, the nerve died?
Okay.
It's not possible. So you're using a toothbrush, except you really you scrubbing it like you want it dead. Or the normal, no.
I don't think a normal person will do that.
Okay. So there's no, you can use your toothbrush to scrub.
Sometimes, there was a time my little boy had this toothache. I called the dentist. He said to me, use hot water and salt.
Warm water, not hot water.
Warm water and salt. Yeah. So, why is that important?
Well, what the dentist said is what I always tell my patients too. In the mouth, you can't put bandage or plaster or whatever it is to help with any wound or infection. But the warm water and salt has a scientific effect that helps. It can be soothing and it can act as an antibacterial. So if you use it, did you use it for your son?
Yes, I did.
And what was the response? What was the outcome?
Well, it's positive anyway.
So when it comes to the mouth, most of the time we rely on warm water and salt. And that part is where the patients are not consistent. They do it the day they remember and they are off. When it's painful, they remember to do it again.
That's the warm water?
And salt, yes. Because if you do the warm water and salt, the warmness would make sure blood flows to that region. And in the body, there are so many components that help with infection. So when the blood comes, it brings those things to that region and it takes care of it. The salt, the little salt you have there is going to act as an antibacterial that will also help in that region, which makes you get better.
Is it normal for a child to have a toothache, like toothache?
The child has teeth, so it's normal. But the parent is the one we will talk about. What do you give the child? If you give the child sweets, sun-top, biscuits, so that the child will not disturb you, what are you expecting? And every parent is guilty of that.
I have a problem with that.
Yeah,
my boys like sweets too much.
See, nobody likes it. You give him. And he sees people taking it in school, so he thinks it's normal. But if we train ourselves that this is what you should do, then nobody takes it. You can give them fruits instead of giving them sweets, and it will still serve the same function. It's sweet also, but it's not going to destroy the teeth.
Yeah, so doctor, let's talk about charcoal.
Okay.
I've seen some toothpaste that have charcoal in it, or charcoal toothpaste and all of that, or people using just the charcoal to just physically, you know, wash their teeth. Is that scientifically a good thing?
No, I don't agree with charcoal. But naturally, charcoal has its own components. In fact, if you have poisoning, charcoal will be one of the things we'll use for you.
Okay.
Yes, but when it comes to the teeth, no.
Okay. Charcoal is not a good idea?
No, it's not a good idea. You can even, I still go with chewing stick.
Okay.
But not with charcoal.
Okay.
No.
Not a good idea?
No, it's a bad one. Because anyone going for charcoal, they have this mindset of they wanted it to be cleaner or whiter or something like that. So,
doctor, what other thing can you use maybe in the morning that's going to help your teeth? I mean, maybe a liquid or something. What advice do you have?
Well, some do use these mouth rinses and mouth washes.
Right.
Yeah, it works. But the problem is is either they overuse it or they underuse it. So if you overuse some mouth rinses, for some, it will dehydrate your mouth and you'll be exposed to some infections. For some, it will discolor your teeth. So whatever you are going to do, if you are going to do the mouthwash thing, do it for 2 weeks and stop it for a month. Yes.
It shouldn't be an everyday thing?
No. Because, for instance, if you take Clexidine beyond 2 weeks, your teeth will be discolored. It will look like you're a chain smoker. Everything will become so black. So in a bid to make your mouth healthy,
switch,
you cause problem.
Okay.
Yeah. And the other one, the Listerine, if you take it beyond 2 weeks, because it has a little bit of alcohol inside, it's going to dehydrate your mouth.
Okay.
So it makes you vulnerable. So you are not really different from someone that you condemn for taking alcohol.
Wow, this is interesting.
Very.
Yeah, because we get to use sometimes mouthwash on a daily basis.
Every day.
You know, on a daily basis, and it's a bad thing. But
No,
anyway,
it's not a bad thing.
But if you overuse it
Adequacy.
at the right, so you're saying mouthwash should be used 2 weeks and you stop for a month, and 2 weeks again you stop for a month.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you so much, doctor, for coming.
I wanted to ask you this: are you related to Sam Ademi?
No.
The guy that does the Success Power.
Yeah, I know the guy, but no, we are not related. Ademi is a common name, just like Lamin. And
when you say Ademi, I was like, Success Power. Okay.
Success Power is still on?
I think it's still on.
Okay. I haven't heard of it for so long.
How many of the audiences have success?
How many?
Of his audiences have success?
Well, I know one of his audience.
Okay.
Yeah.
They are rich?
Well, the guy is in the US. He's now a lawyer.
Well, why did you ask that question?
No, he is now a lawyer. He's in the US, and that guy will encourage me to watch Success Power.
Yeah, and it's like writing a book about having money when you don't have money. How to make a million when you're not a millionaire.
Well,
it doesn't work.
I didn't say it.
I didn't say it either. Thank you so much,
thank
doctor, for joining us on the program. This is such an important topic. And for me, one thing that I'm taking with me is the fact that when you remove a tooth at the uppermost layer, you're not going to die. It is a normal thing to just remove it, because I think that is a huge misconception that we have. And thank God that you're able to change that.
And I think we'll have to invite doctor here again.
Yeah.
And for the interest of our local viewers,
and
maybe
we'll
we
have
do some translations
translation
here, because it's important. This has to do with the whole general public.
Yeah.
So not only those that are.
Yeah, and doctor, I'll come for consultation for my teeth.
No problem.
I'll be there just so I can get extra advice, and because he doesn't agree that I should continue this way.
No, I don't.
He doesn't agree.
I don't.
But thumbs up to my confidence that,
but I think
that I'm able to smile with the teeth.
I mean,
Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. We will go for a short break, and when we come back, we will head right on to the click segment. Do stay tuned.
nga noro tarale birin duniya be datila ada ben na baluwo konole nsulata norol pour kanna dokuwol ke kanna bungol lo kanna fengol fi hanim fanan kanna kanunyol je noro ka kuwol sone yandi woto kiwsel ya kiw pawa sanya kutole nati isela kas pawa sotono katabake anin ñing kiwsel la ñing koot kuto ila duniya malandi anin ñing star 363 has katabake hanna tara ibela suwo kono ila ofiso ko anin dulalo star 363 has kumandi sign kiw power ki la duniya malandi kiwsel suñu bos ntolle nga silo walang dole mol noma
danga bëgg a jot sa xaalis si num gën a gaawee te yobba léegi ak Ria mun ngaa jot sa xaalis bàyyeekoo sa bitim réew si sa Q Money te doo si fay dara boo jotee ab xibaar si sa téléphone bi ne jot nga koppar bu bàyyeekoo sa bitim réew mun ngaa dem seet Q Money agent bu la gën a jege jot sa xaalis te doo si fay dara bu la neexee mun nga koo jëndee crédit Q Power wala jëfandikoo ak yeneen Q Money service yi gaaw na wóor na te noppale na pour am si lu la wóor woo ñu si 133 Q Money suñu kalpe lii dafa ànd ak sarta
Begin your SUV life. S-Pass Motors, the new authorized dealer for Kia. Visit us today or call us on 3522-222, 353-2222.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
From a conversation on dentistry, now we head right on to some entertainment, and we're joined by Skeng Man Sweezy.
And we're about to have fun, man. We're about to have fun. It was really an interesting conversation today. It was fun and lively as well. I need to be brushing my teeth 2 times a day. Actually, I brush it 1 time a day.
But it's more important when you're going to bed.
Exactly. No, I'll start doing that as well.
You don't brush your teeth when you're going to bed?
No, not all the time. Let me just eat and I'm good to go to bed.
What time do you brush?
But at least you're honest. At least you're honest about it.
I'm being honest, you know. So I'm Skengman Sweezy, and my guest today is Dauda Hustle. Welcome to the studio, bro.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
It's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure, man.
So glad to be here, man.
You've been doing great, man. That's why we had to have you on the show today.
Yeah,
like
man.
You've been dropping hits.
Yeah,
you've been having collabos with big artists as well.
Sure.
And you've been kicking your game up there as well, man.
Yeah, man.
So tell us about you, bro.
Well, my name is Dauda Kamara, and I go by the stage name Dauda Hustle. Yeah, started music like officially last year, and got my debut single this year. So yeah, that's it.
And you're still going to school as well?
Yeah.
For real, man.
Yeah,
so let's talk about the song you did with Chana.
Yeah.
And you and Malls as well.
Yeah.
It's the song. That song is a blotter song for you, actually, if I could say.
Yeah.
That's where people get to know the talent that you have as well.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the song. What really inspired you into doing that?
This was like something like I'm trying to bring something unique into the music scene, because I'm looking at the music genres in the Gambia. Like you see people doing different type of, like the same thing. Let me say, like people doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But looking at that vibe, like everybody knows it's different. It's just like something from Mexico or Colombia or something Latin, like.
Exactly.
So that gave me that, you know, inspiration. Like, whoa, this is unique, and this could make me, you know, unique and outstanding amongst, you know, many artists out there. So, you know, Chana invited us to that song, so we had to go and, you know, do our thing on it.
So I was thinking you guys are working together on a label, you and Chana.
Yeah, we used to be together.
Okay.
We used to be together, you know, Baller Gang and all that stuff. But I got signed by a label called Vivid Entertainment. Okay. So, you know, I have to move to, you know, levels, you know.
Doing it next thing, man, for real, man.
So
you don't only rap, you sing as well.
Yeah.
You get, because your recent video that you dropped, man, I saw you doing the Afrobeat thing.
Yeah, sure.
It's really good, you know.
Sure.
So where do you land the singing aspect of music? Because I believe you're a rapper.
I'll be honest. I've never learned about singing and all that stuff. It was just studio vibing, and that was how. That's it. I just sang. Dama do reg the way, like. Yeah, I've been a rapper. Like rapping is all I do. So the singing thing just came within the studio, you know, being just singing. That's how it came. Yeah. And like how I'm seeing it, it's working, because people start loving the way I'm singing and all that stuff. So it's a win-win thing for me, you know. Yeah. Rapping, singing, it's both commercial. So
yeah, I could say you're one of the most recognized upcoming artists in the Gambia. Sure. And I'm proud of that as well, because you're keeping your game tight as well.
Thanks,
you know?
man.
So what is your relation with other Gambian artists in the industry?
Like categorizing it from the top, they're all my brothers.
Okay.
We have peace, you know, love, and you know, we all one. And with the ones Mimo vocal age, Temit, all that stuff, like with G's, I'm cool with everybody. I'm cool with everybody, yeah.
I saw a performance this Saturday at Independence Stadium. It was fire, man. Trust it. The performance was lit, man.
All right, thanks,
yeah,
bro.
man.
Thanks, bro.
And I want you to introduce the video, the new music video that you dropped. I want you to introduce it first time on the morning show. Let's watch it. And when we're back, we'll continue the interview. So introduce it to the fans out there.
My debut single titled Standard. Standard, yeah. That's
Everything standard, man.
Everything.
Let's watch this and come back quickly.
All right. Yeah, we go for no go.
Vivid Entertainment.
Mendi abu neba, dia ukasi ako. Ayo alam.
Dauda. Bad man with a chop belly full. Big friend now we never do. How much just fast on the iron they fool. Youngster na man do like I do. Bad man with a chop belly full. Big friend now we never do. How much just fast on the iron they fool. Youngster na man do like I do. No need the hate, my shine, you need the K. Every day my turn up the bunny like the K. Sanka Luba Leko, now the boy overtake. So I scatter the place, but the speakers again. Standard, standard. Boy too heavy, standard. I'm dipping in sauce, I'm standard. La venga venga, standard. Standard, standard. Boy too heavy, standard. I'm dipping in sauce, I'm standard. La venga venga, standard. And like crazy moves, I do like I be zombie. Fine body girl, them sugar, them love me. Me murder the sing and look at back, bring all Dundee. Boy, you used to suffer, I do that. You take my dolls and cool, banku, skelewu, sharp. My song on repeat, it be deja vu. Anytime me I call them, must answer to. If you think you are bad, then I'm bad times two. Banku, skelewu, sharp. My song on repeat, it be deja vu. Anytime me I call them, must answer to. If you think you are bad, then I'm bad times two. No need the hate, my shine, you need the K. Every day my turn up the ball, nila the K. Sanka Luba Leko, now the boy overtake. So I scatter the place, but the speakers again. Standard, standard. Boy too heavy, standard. I'm dipping in sauce, I'm standard. La venga venga, standard. Standard, standard. Boy too heavy, standard. I'm dipping in sauce, I'm standard. La venga venga, standard.
Everything is standard. Everything in the studio is standard. Bale, your outfit is standard. Geneva, you looking standard. For real, man.
We're rocking
You
designer,
rocking
man.
designers today, man.
But nice video, nice
the
song.
video is
Thanks,
nice.
man.
The
Thanks,
song
man.
is nice,
Thanks,
man.
Thanks a lot.
There was the video that I saw. I was like, nah, I need to
Yeah.
get this guy on the show, man.
I know,
And trust me, we're here. We're doing it today, man.
Yeah,
Let's talk
sure.
about the video, the song, or the concept.
Yeah, the video concept came from the team. That's Vivid Entertainment.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, they always bring out these concepts and all that stuff, and I love the concept because it's so incredible. So the concept came from the entertainment team. That's Vivid. Yeah.
So I was told you first did a video for this song, and you have to redo it again.
Yeah.
What's wrong, bro?
You know, like when you're selling something,
Yeah.
it has to be, you know, something with high quality.
Yeah.
You understand? And you know, music nowadays has to be something very commercial and international. You understand? Even if you cannot get up there, but try to keep the standard. And the song is standard. So
Everything is standard.
so you know, I'm not saying the first video was bad, but the team thought maybe it was not up to standard, like with so Konekedi said a song be so
Yeah.
we had to redo, and that's it, man.
Yeah, I know all of you guys coming to the industry have an expectation to meet as well.
Yeah.
But I just want to say this quickly.
Yeah.
We all know the Gambian music industry lacks a lot of marketing when it comes to marketing our artists out there.
Sure.
So you coming to the industry just less than 2 years. What are your expectations actually? And how are you planning to market yourself out there as well?
Like what I just said in the beginning, just try to be unique, different from everybody. You know, just come like new Axuma style, my own way, and that's it. Like when you're unique, like when you're not with compared with anybody, that's it. You just.
So how about the marketing aspect as well? How are you trying to market yourself out there?
We're having a distribution deal with Yuva. He's the one doing most of the marketing stuff and all that stuff. But I believe like once you're unique, like it's easy for you to market yourself. So we're just doing the promos and everything by ourselves, and that's it. We just do our best, you hard work, and we leave the rest to God.
And big shout out to you, you're doing great, man. We're proud of you, man. The plug as well, man. And now let's talk about you, bro. What are the projects you're working on next? Because we've seen you drop Standard, and I believe you're working on other songs and other visuals as well.
Yeah. I'm working on more songs, working on more visuals. I'm probably dropping an EP this year, like mid this year. So we're looking forward to that, man. We're working on an EP, and guys out there should expect more videos of this Standard, like better videos than this. Yeah.
And shout out to Art, man. You're doing it big, bro. We're proud of you, man. For real, bro. So final words to your fans out there, and you planning on staging any show this year? Because I've seen other artists that just come into the game, 1, 2, they had 1, 2, 3 hit songs, bam, they have a concert.
For that, I don't think like I told you, uniqueness. I'm not going for shows right now. We're just trying to, put in more work. I think it's a little bit early for shows and all that stuff. So the only thing right now is just work, videos, music, Standard songs. That's it for now. Yeah. Freestyle
and then final words to the fans out there. Balde, come join me. But let's go to freestyle quickly.
All right.
Come join me as well, man. So let's go to freestyle, man.
All right, man's rocking with designer. Then I guess I just have to do the standard freestyle.
The standard freestyle, man. Everything is standard, bro. Everything.
Hi. Ana bayu lo ma health. Hi.
So let's go to standard freestyle, bro.
All right. Hella crazy moves that they do like a be zombie. Fine boy, the girl, them sugar, them love me. Me murder the sin and okay bad ring all dondi. Way isu safara bit do you reg my dolly. Zanku, banku, skele ushaku. My song on repeat it be deja vu. Anytime me I call them Osansatu. If you think you are bad, then I'm bad times too. No need to hate my shine, you need decay every day. My turn up the ball, nila decay. Sanka luba leko, now the boy overtakes. So I scatter the place, but the speakers again. Standard. Boy too wavy, standard. I'm dripping in sauce, I'm standard. My friend is standard. Standard.
Let's talk about your outfit, man. This guy. I don't know whether it will be now or later. He's gonna fill stadium. I'm seeing that.
For real, man.
He might the next big thing.
Designer.
So, Balde,
who just
said with the name? Big Sang and Sisters.
Big
Sang, man. You should link him up, man.
Yes.
This guy got us looking fly, man, to be honest.
Man,
he did this for me as well.
Big Sang and Sisters, big up yourself. Take me from bottom to top. Come on, bottom to top. You can reach him on 3973 856.
Exactly. You can call him
73856. Why, Jay?
Nah.
Dañu wara dem fofu nonu mo defal la.
Daf ma wara defal yu ba.
No, exactly.
No, next Thursday fuck ñu dem fa.
Fuck ñu dem fofu nonu. Yow ku la solal yow.
Man, the same thing Big Sang as well.
Big. Yow ku la solal?
Tijania
façon.
Man ku ma solal suma bop xam nga man jigen la dama ewu tana bele jël bi jaxase ko def ni. Ni la def.
Waaye dox na de.
Dox na kay.
Wow.
So for my end I'm saying bye Jennifer.
Thank you.
All right. So till we come your way next week with another interesting program. Bye for now and have a great weekend.
Annun jisenengo adabe hadama dungla baluwole kono annun hadama dunga fengo fen dundi akono kono ayanda keke ku senawol ayke kuti mi yalla ko ata hadama dung mantora madungul one stop water solutions limited ibe janne gambia banko kan andun ye filtarole natal me yalla ko isala jiol kende andi anu isa senen inatale pour ka ji kendo ji senawo natale gambia banko kan jio mi yalla ko atal mantora la annun jio diata ba one stop water solutions limited ye filtarole natal me yalla ko alse muna fangano la alla pompol isala jiol tenteng ya senendi coming alla la nyame naketa pompoti bang abo holo fo nawek la pipe wala a filter sifa o sifa one stop solution ya natalele 10-inch filter set of 3 ya sotalele filter mi yalon ko acidiota aya tenteng natara bankole ba kono fa kenyo wala kankan be bije sa be bon filter fana member ko 12-inch set of 3 filter mi yalon ko acidiota aya dada aya senendi mense beta alla jata kendato o fana sotale CTO block carbon filter o fana mu filter mi yalon ko asi chemical o bonnino jiol kono le mense beta alla jata kendaya filter member ko CTO block carbon mensi jiola chemical be bondi akono pour kala jata kende sa hen nim filter sabol be kili wo kili na pansun doku na wata tankol fanan sotali kabirim 500 5000 fokata 10000 liters plumbing fittings fanan be mol bulle alsemol tarano sukuta highway mariama kunda johnson wala isimol kumandi 505 5691 796 8272 one stop water limited solutions inatale ka jiko be sonende gambia banko